everybody. I'm Anita Finley. You know me. I've been doing this a long time, but not always on Zoom. This is something new for us, and we're very excited. So we call it ZOOMERTIMES TV, and I always have the best guests. And one of my best guests of all time is Anthony Kulp, and he is a licensed real estate broker, but someone that is so bright and so smart and so nice. So I'm just going to tell you ahead of time. We're going to have a conversation, but if you have any real estate that you want to sell or you want to buy, I will really tell you to get Anthony Kulp to help you because everything he does is like magic. And he has such a wonderful attitude too. So, and he loves dogs. That's very important.
Anyone who loves dogs.
How's your new dog?
He's doing wonderful. He's really coming around. He, for being an 8-year-old dog, he's finally, I think he finally realized he's home, that this is home now. So.
Yeah, see, that's right. We like seniors. We like senior dogs. We like senior people. And that brings up a good topic. Recently, I have met some people, Anthony, who really are having a hard time selling their house. They live down in Miami, actually, and they want to go to this retirement community to live, but they're having a hard time with this. And I don't know. I always said to people, price will tell you. You know, if you put the right price, people will buy it. But maybe that's not always true. It depends on location. Why don't you talk a little bit about this and what your experience has been?
Well, if they're moving into a senior facility, they can check with the facility to see if they have a program where they buy their house, or they have a real estate company or realtor that they recommend and they use regularly. There's a lot. Every place is different. They have different programs. Some places don't get involved at all because it leaves them open for liability. Whatever you do, I would recommend having somebody, a friend or another realtor or your attorney, look into what's going on. Some places will say, okay, well, we're going to buy your house, but they're buying the house for, 30% less than what it's worth. Some people, it's worth that to not have to go through the aggravation. But then they're turning around and they're selling it for a pretty good profit if they're buying it from you for 30% less. So every place is different, and I recommend, always checking with somebody to see if this is a good way to go or not. And, usually in a situation like that, you can get an appraiser to come in and appraise the property, for $300 or $400, but that might be the best $300 or $400 you spend. So, it's probably the better way to go.
So if someone came to you, though, aren't there other things besides price? I mean, I know you've talked, one of your articles in Boomer Times is about staging, and they have so many of their personal things, and it's hard to get them to realize that's not what someone wants to see. So what do you tell those people?
Well, in many cases, it's better if they move to the facility first. And then, we have people come in, they go in and clean, they fix all the little things, maybe they'll paint. If there's a smoke odor, they treat the smoke odor, and, and that gets the house ready. Maybe spending $5,000 could bring you back $15,000 just by preparing the house. I have a place right now where the gentleman moved into a very large facility. He had listed with another realtor. They recommended it, but the realtor never advertised. He just wasn't a very big realtor. I'm sure he was a good realtor, and he I don't want to talk down other realtors. I don't know him personally, but they gave me the listing, and I repriced it, and I staged it a little bit, which meant taking things out. He left some items there, and we cleaned it up, and hopefully we're going to get a contract on it soon.
Good. So Dan, you're on. Looks like, you want to talk, Dan? Oh, he just had his picture on. It's a different picture. I thought he was on. Okay. Well, that really makes a lot of sense. I know that Dan's mother actually she lives in a very nice community, and eventually she's going to sell. And of course, she'll probably offer Dan all the extra things that she doesn't want to take because, we do accumulate. All of us accumulate. But once someone is in their 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, they got a lot of stuff, and it's hard to throw away all those beautiful cards and all those things. But other people don't want to see that.
Right. Yeah, well, you have to take all the personal pictures down. And, sometimes you take a picture off the wall, you see that, the walls haven't been painted in a while. Now, a lot of facilities, what they'll do is they'll come to your house and they
Yeah.
have a floor plan of the model that you're moving into. And then they go through and they tell you what can fit in the model. And, you take the best of your furniture and then it gives you a really good idea of what you have to get rid of, and you're not hauling everything to a smaller unit and then having to get rid of it from there.
But Anthony, isn't it better to sell or to show a house with furniture in rather than have it
Not,
totally empty?
not all.
No?
Staging is very expensive. So, sometimes staging, like I said, is getting everything out of there. Or maybe leaving, you might leave, if it's a room that people would walk in and say, well, I don't know how I'm going to put my furniture in here. So if it's something like that, then you can stage it by, just a couch and a couple of chairs so people can get an idea. But I have a listing coming up. He's retired clergy, so it's all this heavy, dark, gothic furniture that he's collected over the years, and he brought down to Florida. And when I walk through the door, I give my sign of the cross. I feel like I have to dip in the holy water.
Well, that's interesting. So when you go to see a house, though, would you prefer to be totally empty?
In most cases, now if it's a very expensive home that you're selling, then spending $10,000 on staging is a good thing. But if you're selling a $175,000 condo, you spend anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 staging it. Now, if there's furniture they can leave behind to stage it with that, if the room is difficult, then that works. But everybody's stuff is different. The gentleman, the retired clergy, he's not leaving anything. I'm telling him, you got to get it all out. All your tchotchkes and everything else, you got to get it all out of here. So.
People love beautiful kitchens. It seems like they go to the kitchens and that makes a lot of the deal. Should they then, if they're selling their home, go and put in new kitchen appliances so it really looks good? Because you're only looking at what, maybe a total of $5,000 or something. I don't know, more. Is that a wise thing to do?
Yeah, $5,000, nice appliances. I have a listing coming up, and it's a dated kitchen, but it's in very good shape. So yesterday I researched these products that they have where you can paint your cabinets, because these cabinets are laminate, like laminate countertops. So they have a product you can paint all your cabinets, and then they have another product that you paint the countertop and it makes it look like granite. And I was looking at the before and after pictures, and it was terrific. But the one thing is, you have to remember, clean sells. If something is dated, it's all original, as long as it's clean, it's going to sell. And when I mean clean, inside the cabinets, under the sink, the toe kicks, just everywhere is spick and span. People can imagine themselves living there. But if something's dated and it's dirty, forget it. People want to get out of there right away. They can't picture themselves living there.
And I'm thinking about bathrooms, because something that's 20, 25 years old, the bathrooms are dated too, aren't they?
It is, but if it's clean, if there's no mildew and all that, it's freshly caulked and the grout has been cleaned, and it's if you have little cracks in tiles, seal the little cracks, but somebody will say, okay, I have to redo the bathroom, but I don't have to do it right now. I can live with this because it's clean. They can picture themselves using it. But if the shower has all mildew and the glass door is all cloudy and it's just not clean, then they can't picture using it. And they'll say, well, I have to do this kitchen right away. I have another house north of Boca, and I went in, and the guy's house, perfect. Everything is perfect. But you go into his kitchen and the cabinets are a very dark oak. And I said, your cabinets are beautiful, but they're very dated. And somebody's going to come in and say, I have to tear out all these cabinets and put in new cabinets. So I found him a guy who paints cabinets, a professional. He takes all the doors, he paints them. And we found a color that matched his countertops and everything. So for something that's going to cost them $3,000 or $4,000, somebody's going to walk in, he's going to get more for the property. It's going to sell faster. And whoever sees it isn't going to say, oh, I need to tear the kitchen out, which is a huge expense.
Anthony Kulp. See, just what you said, there are these realtors running around, and I'm not going to be hard on them because I'm a broker. I just don't do that anymore. But they don't know any of that stuff that you just said. I mean, they would just complain, but for you to have the contacts and tell them what they should do is why you are so successful and have been so successful. So let me just give some information here. So it's Anthony Michael Kulp. And if you want to get in touch with him, his phone number is 954-815-9048. I'll repeat that. It's 954-815-9048. And his name is Anthony Michael Kulp, K-U-L-P. And he's your number 1 realtor in South Florida. So I wouldn't ever recommend anybody but you, Anthony, because you're not just a realtor. I wish that there were another name. I mean, another name for this. It's not, because realtor is just not enough for you. What could we call you? The wizard?
Being a realtor, one of the things that we agree to is to help the public, and that doesn't always mean listing or selling. I mean, you gave me somebody a couple weeks ago who just needed to talk to somebody to understand what the situation was that they were having. But I get a call a week from somebody. They see my advertising and they, can I happen to call you? I had a woman call me the other day from Delaware. She has a place down here. She never comes down. She had a car in the parking lot. And she said, can you give me the name of the management company? I want somebody to go over and look at the car to tell me if the tires are flat. I'll go do it for you. I said, I'm heading that way in a little while. I took pictures of her tires and texted to her. And
Anthony, you're not
very, very sweet one.
Unbelievable. Yeah, let's see, but you take all this so hard.
To her, I think she's paying on a mortgage that she's been paying on for 9 years. Her husband had passed away. The property was in his name.
Yeah.
And I think she's been paying on a mortgage that is not tied to that property. So she could have stopped paying on it right after he passed away, after his estate was settled.
Oh my heavens.
She's been paying $700 a month on this mortgage for 7 years or 9 years. And she tried to contact the mortgage company. They won't talk to her. They won't give her the loan number and everything else. So my thing was, stop paying it. I'm sure they're going to send you information if you stop paying it. So I gave her. So
she should hire you. Did you tell her to do that?
Well, I said to her, here's the name of an attorney who handles only real estate in the States. Give him a call. I know him. He's a great guy, and he'll help you out. He'll try to find out, what this mortgage is all about, because he can look it up in the tax records.
Sure.
But I think it's a non-recourse loan. I don't think she needed to pay it after he passed away.
But does she want the house?
She does. She still has a lot of memories, even though she doesn't use it and she doesn't come down. She still has a lot of memories, and she doesn't want to rent it. She doesn't want to sell it yet. But
she's being foolish, really.
Yeah, she's not ready to deal with it yet. But she just retired, so now she really has to look at her monthly income.
Right.
It's over $1,000 a month going out to this property that's not being
amazing.
So.
Yeah, well, and see, you do a lot of stuff like that. You find that, and that's, I just have to say to everybody, there are a lot of nice people who've jumped into real estate, and they're friendly, and they can get online and find things for you. But when it really push comes to shove, you need someone who's experienced and who has ideas and who can look ahead before you get into trouble with other things. So, and
handle everything. I work right now helping somebody sell a manufactured home in a manufactured home park, and I'm also working on selling a multi-million-dollar shopping center. So
no kidding. Well, wait. Let's talk about the mobile home.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Tell us how that works in sales. Do you have to deal with a realtor to do that?
Well, in this case, it's not a very expensive mobile home. I know the people who own it, and the guy that I'm helping buy it was a previous customer, and he's moving back to the state. He doesn't have a lot of money, so he'll probably get it for about $30,000, which is more than affordable for him. His ground rent, taxes, all the amenities are 750. So, and it's a very large two-bedroom, two-bath manufactured home with a huge carport in
Huh?
a nice area, and it's 55 plus. They take care of the park very nice. A lot of people think a trailer park, that it's going to be this horrendous place. Most trailer parks do stricter background searches on people than condominiums do.
Huh.
And it's a very nice place. It's run very well. They take care of it, and it works for him. And then he's selling a very expensive home, but that's his retirement money. So for him to only have to put out $30,000 and the $750 a month, which covers everything, the only thing he has to pay is electric and cable. So for him to pay out that $750 a month, you can't rent a place for $750 a month. And here he has this big house and in a beautiful community, and it just works for him. It's a very good way to go.
That's interesting. You should even share this with people, because if someone came to you and said they were interested in doing that, how would you find ones that are for rent or for sale? How do you do that? Same
Well,
way as with a house?
in most manufactured home parks, you have to go through the park to buy it. They have their own sales force in
Oh,
there. And in this case, I'm not getting a commission from it because the sellers are friends and the buyer's a previous customer. So, and I don't have to do a lot of work. I'm not putting myself in any liability because I'm not filling out the paperwork or anything. I'm just putting the two parties together.
because that's what you do. So you're not going to sell his big house.
No, his big house is in Hudson, New York, on the Hudson.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good example of something that I hadn't really heard about with mobile homes. I used to live in Ocean Ridge, and it's right next to Briny Breeze's. You know that whole story.
No.
That was quite something. I don't know what's going on over there anymore, but
Was that the
those
park?
things.
Was that the
What?
park where one person refused to sell?
No, not really. What happened is the people who really came in to buy this whole thing, they were going to give everybody $1 million. They tried to get a huge community development there, and it wasn't passed.
Mm-hmm.
It was just they wanted to do too much into that small area,
Mm-hmm.
so they kind of walked. But a lot of people thought they were millionaires.
Well, during the boom, they were going in and buying these parks, and I would get calls from these poor women who, were widows, and they were living off $600 or $700 a month, and their ground rent. They said when they bought there it was $50, and when they called me it was $400, and a developer was buying the park and telling them all they have to get out, and it was rent. They had nowhere to go, and I told them you have to organize, you have to go up to the
Right.
the county seat and lay on the steps and tell them, what's going on. It's a shame. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
you can't get 80-year-olds to go and protest at the county
Sure.
building, and
Oh, they'll get attention, won't they? You're very smart.
yeah. I mean,
You'll be there with the flag to help them. I can see that.
yeah, it was in Delaware. It's a small state. It would be seen over the whole state, make the news. But
Right.
just a group, poor and the elderly are the most, the two groups that get taken advantage of the most.
I know that. Well, there are always some nice, good Samaritan like you. This is Anthony Michael Kulp, and the phone number to reach him is 954-815-9048. So Anthony is always, as he said, he's always open. Just call him if you have a real estate deal. He would love that to buy. You want to buy a place, you want to sell your home. But if you just have a question, he can tell you very quickly. He's just a good guy, and that's what he does. And we've talked a lot about what happens to people when they don't go to a good realtor, they don't have a lawyer, and they think everything's fine, and then this is probably one of your biggest investments in your life, your home. And
Right.
as Anthony said, if you're selling it and you're retired, that's your nest egg. So don't be foolish.
And when you sell a house, you put yourself in harm's way because even though you're not using a realtor, you still have to fill out the correct forms and disclosures and everything else. And somebody, if you don't disclose something to someone and they buy the house, they can come after you for it. So.
And then we have the whole situation now with mold, which, you know, when I was selling real estate many, many years ago in the 1970s, in the 80s, mold wasn't a problem.
I know, like aliens brought it to this earth because I was in construction since I was 14 years old, and we never ran across mold, even in bathrooms that were leaking into the walls. And now, if you sneeze in a house, it creates mold.
Right. So now my question is this: with COVID, do you have to guarantee to people that the people who were living there didn't have COVID, or how are you handling this?
Everybody's different. I'm showing about 9 properties tomorrow, and some of the people ask you wear a mask, which you have to wear a mask anyway, but some people ask that you wear gloves. If somebody's very apprehensive or nervous, I have a thing of Clorox wipes in my car, and we'll go in and we ask people not to touch anything, and if they do touch the banister or something like that or doorknobs, then I let the people who live there know I'm going to wipe it. Anything that's touched, I'll wipe it down, and you just have to work with it, work around it.
But if someone buys a house, do they want to be assured that the person who lived there didn't have COVID and maybe passed away or something?
You have to explain to people that the virus, only lives for so long. And on anything, in a lab, they said it can live for 72 hours in a lab on stainless steel. But in the real world, if you touch a stainless steel doorknob, it may only last a couple hours. If you wipe it down with like Clorox wipes or Lysol products, there's a couple of products out there that work very well. I mean, it's gone in, 30 seconds. The virus is gone. So, you just, people ask questions. If you don't know, never lie. Always, you have a whole internet. Type in what's this, what's that. It's at your fingertips. You can do it on your phone. So, the best thing to say is I don't know. I will get back to you.
Right. I don't know, and I'll get back to you. Years ago, when I was selling real estate, I actually worked for Avida, and I sold a lot of real estate there. And the real estate was really hot, so that people had to actually take numbers when they wanted to buy something in Boca West. That's not happening now, is it? Is it? No. Is there a big market now? I think you said something about that.
Oh, I had 15 listings 30 days ago, 30 or 45 days ago. I think I'm down to 4 or 5 now.
Really?
I had 12 settlements 12 properties that I was waiting to go to settlement. 13 were sales and 2 were rentals.
Why is that, Anthony?
I don't know. I wish I could explain it. I wish I could go back last year and say, oh, the first 2 weeks of August are really hot, so I'm going to make sure I don't go, I'm in town. But the first 2 weeks of September are slow, so I'm going to go away in September. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Are most of your sales from people coming from up north, or most of them just people moving around here?
Downsizing. I'm a senior real estate specialist, so I mainly deal with senior citizens. And
right.
A lot of active senior citizens don't want to be tied down to a house, having to maintain a house. So, they move into a large, comfortable condominium, whether it's up on the beach, whether it's in a 55 plus community, or, and there's communities like Leisureville, which I just sold a place in there, which is off of Copens in Pompano, where they cut the grass for you. They paint the house every 6 years. They coat the roof. There's not a lot for you to do, and they're, decent sized houses ranging from 1,200 square feet to, over 2,000. So, that's a nice change from having a house that's 2,500 or 3,000 square feet where you have to take care of the yard and the pool and, all of the other things that go along with it. So if you're active and you reach a certain age, you don't want to do all that. You want to go and travel. You want to go to the beach. You want to go and do other things. Or if you're at an age where you just can't do it anymore, then you want to prepare.
And something you said, and I don't say it enough, but you are a senior specialist. I mean, you do deal with people who are older. That's what made you do that? That was a special kind of
That's
program.
I was mainly dealing with senior citizens. So I took the course, I did some other studying outside of that. I talked to some psychologists who mainly work with senior citizens, one psychologist in particular, and he explained a lot of stuff to me to look for that. I don't know, in the course, they weren't doctors or anything, so maybe they weren't comfortable talking about it. I talked to an attorney about, if you're dealing with somebody and you don't think all their faculties are there, to make sure that there's somebody else that's involved, whether it's a son or daughter or even a friend, but there's somebody else that sometimes people will be confused and they'll just say yes, yes, yes.
Right.
And then they'll go home and say, well, I don't remember what we talked about. So if there's somebody else there with them,
Right.
they can talk about it and, say, well, let's call him back and I'm not really sure either. Let's call him back and see what he's talking about. The other thing is dealing with senior citizens, it's not rush, rush, rush.
No.
I have a gentleman, I just listed and sold his place and sold him another one, and 6 months. My first meeting with him was 6 months, and he started downsizing with stuff, and he was throwing away tax returns from 30 years ago. He
Well,
thought he needed them.
Anthony, it's always wonderful talking to you. I think people enjoy it. You're such a personality. I mean, it's hard to know. You could be a doctor yourself or something, but you're just so down to earth. And I know that's why people love you and they trust you. That's the big thing in whether it's real estate, insurance, or anything else. So thank you, Anthony, Michael, Kulp. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And maybe you'll have some new and exciting ideas next time we talk.
I'll come up with.
Take care of that new little doggy.
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Have a
We'll
good day.
talk later. Bye.